Next up on the list is Trent Thornton. Of course, Trent Thornton, you remember, was traded from the Blue Jays to the Mariners in the middle of the year. And the results were pretty good, but I do have some concerns. Before we talk about everything, every single thing in the world, let's talk about Simply Seattle because Simply Seattle provides the very best in Seattle sports gear. Whether you're looking for stuff for the Mariners, the Seahawks, the Kraken, the Supersonics, the Huskies, the Cougars, the Storm, the Sounders, you can find it all at Simply Seattle. Great hats, great shirts, great individual stuff that they make. Love the Big Dumper shirt. Love the Big Penix Energy shirt. Can't recommend them enough. And you can find all those goodies and then enter code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order. That's MOLLYWHOP15. You just enter it at checkout. It's wonderful stuff. We thank Simply Seattle so much. And there is a link in the description because, of course, there is. I make things easy for you. So Trent Thornton appeared in 23 games, not games. Those aren't a thing. Appeared in 23 games for the Mariners last year. He posted a 2.08 ERA, a 21-5 strikeout to walk ratio. And when you combine that with 4 pretty solid appearances for the Blue Jays, he ends the year with a 2.01 ERA and a 26-6 strikeout to walk ratio. So Thornton did a better job than I think. Like, if you take a look at the overall picture, I think did a better job than maybe a lot of us thought he did. He did get some high leverage chances, and some of those high leverage situations went okay. Some of them went real poorly. And it's just what type of pitcher Trent Thornton is, especially at the age of 30, kind of scares the crap out of me. Because look, he throws a ton of strikes. A base on ball, according to Baseball Savant, rate of 4.8% is excellent. He avoided barrels at an extremely high rate, 4.3, and he only gave up hard hit 29% of the time, a hard hit percentage of 29%. That's outstanding. Like, that's legitimately almost hard to do. 29% would easily rank among the league leaders if he qualified. He didn't because he didn't have enough appearances. Having said that, and I know we talk about strikeouts a lot and yada, yada, yada. I want my relievers to miss bats. And he only generated whiffs on 22% of his pitches, and he only struck out 20.8% of the batters that he faced. That's well below average. You know, he has a 93.9 mile per hour fastball. A lot of times he was in that 94 to 95 range, sometimes 92 to 93. It's not elite. And, you know, he does have a slider that is very difficult to pick up, and he'll throw a curveball as well. And his fastball gets decent spin. But this is not a guy who's going to miss a ton of bats. I don't want to see Trent Thornton pitching in high leverage situations ever again. And, you know, look, some of that was based on injuries. Some of that happened after the trade of Paul Sewald. I do not want Trent Thornton to pitch in the role that he had for a lot of last year. And I don't think the Mariners do either. That doesn't mean he can't be usable. It's a pretty darn solid year last year. But there are flashes here. And look, expected ERA of 3.09, expected batting average of 227. That's excellent. That's really good. Average X velocity of 85.9. There's no question that he's difficult to square up. But you're just asking for, when you have a reliever like this, you're just asking for regression with some bad luck, because you're going to give up some hits that maybe you shouldn't. And you don't have good enough stuff to avoid the non-self-inflicted damage coming around. It's great that he doesn't give up barrels. It's great that he did a very good job of keeping the ball in the park. But this is a 30-year-old who will be 31 next year, who he's not going to get better. Now, for a review of 2023, I think it was a good trade for the Seattle Mariners. They gave up a guy in Mason McCoy who had no shot of being a regular for the Mariners ever. Probably not ever a bench bat, even. Very good defensive player, but just doesn't have the offensive upside to be anything more than a bench bat at best. So, yes, there's no denying that Trent Thornton did the job for the most part in 2023. I would be extremely reticent to count on him as a contributor for 2024. And, we just talked about arms like Ty Adcock. We talked about Prelander Baroa. We talked about a few other guys. I'm counting on them more than I'm counting on Trent Thornton. All due respect. A nice arm to have around. But there's too many talented relievers on the Seattle Mariners still. I know their bullpen doesn't look as good as it did last year for sure, but there's some good arms available. And Trent Thornton, to me, is not a guy that I think should be a lock for this roster. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm interested. Let me know in the comment section, and please hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate the support. Be back with another video. I think we're starting to get into some good ones. All due respect to Trent Thornton and some other guys we've talked about, like Robbie Ray, who's better than a lot of the guys that we'll talk about coming forward. But we're getting into the guys who really made a contribution. I'm kind of frustrated as well, but we're getting there. We are getting there. Bye. Not every video is going to end.